Hi, my name is Ian. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be checking out the Javier Reyes Signature Series Fluence pickups by Fishman. Okay, so the guitar I'm going to be testing this with is the Solar A-Series 8-string brown. These come with the Duncan Solar pickups as standard. These pickups are no slouch, they're great pickups. But how are they going to compare side by side with the Javier Reyes Fluence? Right, so what do we get in the box? I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, look at this lovely packaging, it's so white and beautiful. Don't give a shit, let's just get inside it. So, we have the two pickups. You got the bridge and the neck. I'll get these suckers out here. And they're very cool. They look just like an open coil pickup, although they are active. So I don't know if this ribbon here is just for show. Probably. On the back you've got lots of pickup options. I think you can switch whether the pickups are in the bridge or the neck position, depending on where you solder these jumpers. And then you've got a power input and then signal for the different voices and the single coil tapping. That's cool. And they're black. And they have the Fishman etching on there, which is cool. So when I was looking at purchasing these, I was wondering, oh, what bits and bobs do I need? Do I need to change parts? Do I need to get switches, etc.? Well, they were in my basket when I realised, all that shit comes in the box. So what have we got? We have got 2 pots for volume, if you're mental enough to want to run 2 pots, 2 volumes, and then you've got 2 tones that are a push-pull switch, which is nice. And then in here they've been kind enough to include pretty much everything. Some sponges there to bounce the pickups around, and pickup screw springs, stereo jack. Didn't need to purchase any of this stuff, it all came with it. Cables for your batteries, cables. Anything it doesn't have is extra wires to connect to between your tone and volume to the input jack, but wires are wires. And then capacitors to put on your tone, and that's pretty much it. Oh, finally, so they are in. My god, these took some effort. I've wired a few pickups in my time. Passives, actives, call tapping. But there's a lot going on in here. There's a lot of cables. There's a lot of switching options. It's so tightly packed in the back of here. It's gonna pop. But they're in. So let's go and take a super nerdy deep dive and see how these puppies sound. Okay, so what I've done is I've recorded DIs for the Seymour Duncan Solar and the Fishman Fluence Javier signature pickup. Just recorded them back to back. I've recorded something that's a bit more rhythm focused and something that's a bit more picked, arpeggiated, clean. So if we look here, the first thing you notice, or that I notice, is the perceived output difference visually between the Seymour Duncan and the Fishman. The Seymour Duncan, which is my first example here, certainly seems to have more output than the other. But let's have a listen to the DI. Okay, so this is a definite drop in output, but tonally it's different. It's perhaps a little bit more focused. And this is sound 2, again on the Fluence. And then back to the Solar. Fishman, sound 1. And then sound 2. So there's a definite high-end roll-off on sound 2. And maybe more perceived mids. Right, out of interest, everything's out of interest today. I also recorded some EMGs, 808s, out of an 8-string pickup. Bear in mind these are different strings, and they are newer strings. But the output itself is almost, well, it's probably double the output of the passive and the Fishman active, which is more what I was expecting from the Fishman, if I'm perfectly honest. But let's just have a brief A-B between those two, the Fishman and the EMG. So there's more of everything in the EMG, including bass and general muddiness. And back to the Fishman. So the Fishman sounding more focused than the Solar. The EMG, excuse me. But the EMG has more, yeah, it's just louder. And it's not as focused, I would say, frequency-wise. Let's have an amplifier. I'm going to use a neural DSP Nolly archetype just for ease. It's on a 5150 with a boost, so this is full-on saturation as you would expect in a metal setting. So let's try that. Okay, so this is the Duncan. No, it's not. This is the EMG. And then it'll loop out to the Duncan. Alright, so this is the Seymour Duncan. due to the fact that it's slightly less output, or more focus on those frequencies. This is sound 2. And then we'll throw the EMG in there as well. So the EMG is probably not as tight, but it's not shit. You know? The EMG gets shit on as a pickup, but I think there's a degree of snobbery there. It's really not that bad. Bit of an amp tweak and you're fine. Back to the solar. Obviously when things are saturated, things all sound kind of the same to a certain degree. And then the Fishman. Okay. So that was the bridge pickups. What I've also done is I've recorded meant for clean arpeggiated tones, and let's check out how they sound first without an amplifier, and then I'll just go through with an amplifier and everything else. This is the Duncan solo. And that's the Fishman sound 1. And sound 2. And let's add an amplifier for the second round. Let's actually turn off the overdrive, that will help. Now it's clean. Let's give that another pass. Okay, so Seymour Duncan. Neck. Seymour Duncan bridge. Got pickup positions on the brain. Okay, Fishman sound 1. Fishman sound 2. Okay, let's move on to position 2, which is a coil split on the Seymour Duncans and a single coil mode on the Fluence. And then it loops back to the solar Duncans. So the first thing I notice here, I guess, is that the output is kind of the same when we're going into like a picked pattern, which would suggest that there's more of a compression occurring in the Fishman Fluence. Let's go on to middle position, which is both humbuckers on. Duncans. Fishman. Sounds like there's more output there. Back to the Duncans. To me it sounds like the neck pickup on the Fishman is probably louder than the neck pickup on the Solas, output wise. Let's go to position 4, which is coil split for the Duncans and single coil mode for the Fishman. Definite drop in volume there on the Seymour Duncans. Fishman is much hotter and sounds pretty good. Okay, and let's finally go to position 5, which is full neck humbucker. Seymour Duncan. Fishman, mode 1. Sounds much hotter. Mode 2. Actually, let me grab neck and bridge together, and let's see if there is a difference in output, because comparing just straight between the two, it sounded like the Fishman neck pickup was more powerful, but if I look here, it would suggest that they are pretty evenly matched. So this is first the bridge and then the neck. Right, so that's neck pickup. That's bridge pickup. What is it? That's, okay. Yeah, that was bridge pickup. This is bridge pickup. And then it will loop back around to neck pickup. What's the point of this exercise? The exercise points out that they're a pretty similar output. There's a noticeable difference with the other though. Right, because I'm busting out an 8-string, let's give it some 8-string grooves, and let's give it unamplified, and then we'll amplify it. So let's have a go. Again, noticeable output difference between the two. So Fluence, mode 1. And then into mode 2. Alright, okay, so let's add an amplifier again. Okay. Duncan. Fluence. Much tighter. And then voice 2. Okay, wow. There we go. That's a super nerdy deep dive. Join me standing up and I'll give you my final conclusions. Okay, in conclusion, these pickups weren't exactly what I was expecting. I was expecting some kind of super high output, face melting, ultra articulate pickup. And these weren't that. They were a lot more like a passive pickup, which I guess with Fluence's claims that these pickups bridge the gap between active and passive, that kind of makes sense, right? So, yeah, they do have a nice, even output between a heavy hit chord and a picked lighter touch. You are getting that more compressed output. At the same time, it is extremely articulate and really clean, particularly when you switch to the other pickup settings for single coil and things like that. You don't get the volume drop, and this things stay bright and crisp and clean, and there's almost no effort. You don't have to attack hard to get the output that you need if you're playing a passive pickup, right? So in conclusion, consider me impressed. They're going to stay in my guitar. I'm going to continue to write with them, play with them, and get to know them a bit better. But those initial impressions, nice. So, what are your thoughts? Let me know what you think down below, and until next time, stay dark.